The next basic concept was how to select the data. Selecting the data means the query what you are seeing here is a selection or projection. మీరు అక్కడ చూస్తుంది అది సెలక్షనా ప్రొజెక్షనా? Selection in the sense what? Whatever we are keeping in the select list, that is columns that are used to project the data, that is column level selection, but it is not a row level selection. It is not a row level selection. At the time of the starting of the class, I could say what is a selection, what is a projection, and what is a join. I told you, right? So selection means you have to pick the data from the large set. చూడండి, ఫ్రమ్ ద టేబుల్ నేమ్ అని మీరు అన్నారంటే, ఫ్రమ్ ద టేబుల్ నేమ్ అని మీరు అన్నారంటే టోటల్ డేటా వస్తుందా, ఓన్లీ స్పెసిఫిక్ డేటా వస్తుందా? టోటల్ డేటా వస్తుంది, అవునా? టోటల్ డేటాలో సమ్ ఆఫ్ ది కాలమ్స్ మనం సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకొని ఓన్లీ దోస్ కాలమ్స్ వీఆర్ షోయింగ్ ద డేటా, right? Only those columns we are showing the data. That is called projection. Whatever you are keeping in the select list, the columns that are only used for projection, that is not selection. Thus, that is also one kind of selection, that is a column level selection. Okay, if the table is having the multiple columns, out of the multiple columns you have to pick all, you will pick only multiple columns, so that is called as a column level selection. Column level selection. Okay, so here the table is having the multiple columns. Here I have selected only customer ID, service ID, amount. This is a commission amount, and this is a derived column from the existing columns, right? So this is a selection at the column level. But what about the row level selection? చూడండి, ఒక ఫోన్పే యాప్ తీసుకోండి. మీరు లాగిన్ అయినప్పుడు చూడండి, నా సినారియో చూడండి ఒకటి. మీరు లాగిన్ అయినప్పుడు మీ మొబైల్ నెంబర్ నుంచి మీరు లాగిన్ అవుతారుగా. మీరు లాగిన్ అయినప్పుడు ఓన్లీ మీరు చేసిన ట్రాన్సాక్షన్సే కనపడాలా, వేరే వాళ్ళు చేసిన ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ కూడా కనపడాలా? మీరు చేసిన ట్రాన్సాక్షన్సే కనపడాలి. అంటే ఈ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ టేబుల్లో యూ కెన్ సీ మీరు చేసిన ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ డేటా ఉందా, అందరు చేసిన ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ డేటా ఉందా? అందరు చేసిన ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ డేటా ఉంది, అవునా? అందరు చేసిన ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ ఉన్నాయి. అవుట్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ వీ హ్యావ్ టు పిక్, ఎవరైతే లాగిన్ అవుతారో, ఎవరైతే అప్లికేషన్లో లాగిన్ అవుతారో ఓన్లీ వాళ్ళ డేటానే చూపించాలి. వాట్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ సెలెక్షన్ ఇట్ ఈస్? That is a row level selection. That is not a column level selection. Okay, column level selection also will be happening. What kind of data we need to show, what kind of columns we need to show, that is a column level selection. What kind of data we need to show, that is a row level selection. Okay, that is a row. You have to identify the difference between the select list selection and where condition selection. Select list selection is used to selecting the table columns, not the data. But where condition selection is used to selecting the row level data, means this kind of data. So the select list is a this kind of data, column level selection, but the where condition is a row level selection. The select statement, the select class you are using, that is using for selecting the only specified columns or all columns, that is a column level selection. Now you are going to use the where condition. That where condition will help you to identify the particular rows, and whatever the data you have requested, that data will gets you. The where class can be The where clause can compare values in the columns. Literals, yesterday we have used the literals. Those literals can be appear in the where clause also. Arithmetic expression, what we have learned so far, arithmetic expressions, those also will be available in the where condition. And the functions what we are going to learn in the future, those also will be accepted in the where clause. Okay, so values in the columns, literal values, arithmetic expressions and functions. వీటిల్లో the top 3 values in the columns, values we know, arithmetic expressions we know, and literals also we know. And for in the where condition we need to learn is a functions. So wait for some time, functions also will be learning. Okay, the components of the where clause are column name, comparison operator, column name or constant or the list of values. ఇవి ఏవైనా ఉండొచ్చు. Okay, at least one column should be there and one operator should be there. That operator can be a equality operator, not equality operator, greater than, less than, any kind of operator. Okay, the operators we learn today now. The character strings and the date should be enclosed with a single quotation marks while comparing the data. Character values are the case sensitive and date values are the format sensitive. By default, date format of the Oracle is what actually? DD-MON-YY. The comparison operators are used to such conditions to compare one expression to another. The different comparison operators are equality, not equality. These three are the not equal operator. These three are the not equal operator. Only the comparison operator, equality is a equality and not equality is having the 3 operators. Okay, 2 angular brackets open and close and exclamation mark and equals to and the cap symbol and the equality operator. These three symbols are called as a not equality in Oracle. Greater than operator, less than operator, greater than or equal to, and less than or equals to. These operators are comparison operators that will help us to get us the data, whatever the data you require. So coming to our transaction table. So the first column is the transaction ID column. Whenever you do the transaction, one unique number will be generated, that is a transaction ID. And the transaction customer ID, the customer ID is who has done the transaction, that is the customer ID column. And the wallet ID, from which wallet the amount has been debited. If I have two wallets, one is a prepaid wallet and another one is a postpaid wallet. If the 2 wallets are there, on which wallet, prepaid means we'll load the money into the wallet and utilize it. Postpaid means the system can give the credit up to 5,000 up to 2,000, 3,000 credit limit. Then only after using that money you will pay. That is a postpaid wallet. We have 2 different sub wallets. Okay, prepaid wallet and postpaid wallet. On which wallet the amount has been debited, that is a wallet. And the service provider ID, the service, if you say the Airtel recharge, who is providing the service actually? Airtel is a service provider. Our project, our system is a mediating between the Airtel and the customer. Airtel and the customer. The service provider, the service provider ID and the service ID. Airtel can provide the multiple services. Okay, Airtel can provide the multiple services. Airtel can provide the recharge option, and Airtel can provide the DTH option, digital direct to home, and Airtel can provide the broadband options also. So service ID, which service you are using, that service, and the transaction amount, what amount of the transaction you have done, on which mobile number the wallet is allocated to one mobile number, right? Wallet is allocated to one mobile number, on which mobile number the transaction has happened, and the destination mobile number. If the customer has done the recharge, at least he has to give the mobile number to whom the recharge has to happen. So that the destination mobile number and the destination account number. If the customer is doing the bill payments means so electricity bill payment, credit card bill payment, such kind of bill payments will be doing at that time, the customer can provide the account number. If you don't give the account number of the electricity, the bill will not be fetched, right or wrong? Yes, that is the account number. Destination mobile number is only used for recharges, and the account number is only used for the bill payments. And the actual amount deducted from your wallet. If you are doing the transaction means so the actual amount is the total transaction amount plus charges, taxes or charges. Okay, the total amount is debited from the actual amount deducted column. Then actual amount credited means if the transaction is failing, the total amount needs to be reverted or not. The total amounts to be reverted. So if the transaction is failing, the total amount credited column will be updated. Whatever the amount deducted from the wallet, the total amount will be credited to the customer wallet. Otherwise, system failures. Okay, the tax amount means so whenever you are doing the recharge or something bill payment, so some tax will be deducted. That is a tax amount. So commission amount means so if I give the benefit to the customer, if the system gives the benefit to the customer, that is a commission, that is a bonus to the customer wallet. That is a bonus to the customer wallet. The commission amount, the status, the transaction is a success, the transaction is a pending, the transaction is a failure. If you see, if you identified whenever you do that payment to your friend through the phone pay, request is pending, like that it shows, right? Sometimes means so the next day amount will be credited or debited. The next day will be happening sometimes if the servers are busy at that time. What is the status of the transaction until tomorrow? That is a pending status. It is not a conclusion. That is a pending status. Okay, that is a pending until the confirmation comes from the other banks or operator. That is a pending. So we have a 3 statuses. One is a success, another one is pending, and the third one is a failure. These 3 statuses. And the transaction date, on which date the transaction has happened. See, transaction date. The next basic column is a transaction completed date. Means so you have sent the money from your phone pay and it is pending until tomorrow. What is the transaction date actually? Transaction date is actually what? Today is the transaction date. After the status success comes from the operator end or the bank end, what is the completed date actually? Next day. That is the completed date. That is the completed date. Transaction creation, transaction date and the transaction completed date both are not same. Completed date means the final confirmation coming from the operator end or the bank end. The next other charges. If the tax and more charges are there, those are all charges will be coming into other charges. And the transaction creation date, transaction created by means so these two columns are the optional columns. Sometimes transaction created date and transaction date both are same, but transaction completed date and the transaction last to updated date both are not same. Why? Because if any manual activity will be happening on the data, any manual activity will be happening on the data, so we need to update the last updated date of that record. Remember that it is not a transaction completed date. Okay, transaction completed date means that is response date coming from the operator and the bank. But last updated date is it is not a completed date. Why? Because any manual activity is happening on the data, we should update at the last updated date. Then how come the transaction completed date and last updated both are same? Okay, both are not same. So these two columns I have kept because of record creation date, record updated date. Okay, and the created by, updated by, who created the record and who updated the record, that is required. So these columns you know, right? Now we'll move into the scenarios. Okay, so I have a data. You can see the customer ID 2 has done many transactions. When you go to the functionality, one customer can do one transaction or many transactions. One customer can do one service, can utilize one service or many services. అంటే ఒక కస్టమరు మెనీ సర్వీసెస్ వాడతాడు. One services can be used by the one customer many times or one time. Many times. Wise, you can, if you see left side also, if you see left side, you can see the right side also. Okay, one customer can be utilized many services, right or wrong? The service can be utilized by the one customer or many customers. That is also many customer. The same service, the same customer can be utilized one time or many times. Many times. Okay, the same customer, the same service ID, the same amount can be done one time or many times. These kind of functionality, if you are aware, you will write the queries easily. Otherwise, the overall database is a completely depending upon the functionality and the actions that is happening between the object to object. That's it. Clear? The same customer, the same service, the same amount can be done with to the same mobile numbers. We can do, but date can be changed. Date can be changed without what I can say, without complete the validity. How can you do the same customer, same service, same amount to the same mobile number without completing the validity? How can you do? So the same customer, the same service, the same amount can be done, but the date can be different. Clear? These kind of functionality, if you are aware, you can write the queries. Okay, so you have a customer and you think you are a customer, and you logged into your system. You need to see only your transactions or other transactions also. You need to see only your transactions, not other transactions. Okay, now question చూడండి. Get the details of all the transactions. Get the details of all the transactions which has done by customer ID 1000001. ప్రీవియస్ క్వరీలో మనం నేర్చుకున్న కాన్సెప్ట్స్లో ఈ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ సినారియోస్ మీకు పాసిబిలిటీ ఉందా? డెఫినెట్గా లేదు. చూడండి నా క్వశ్చన్ చూడండి. బై లుకింగ్ ఇన్ టు దిస్ డేటా యూ కెన్ సీ ద డేటా. ఓకే, గెట్ ద డీటెయిల్స్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ ది ట్రాన్సాక్షన్స్ which are done by customer ID 1000001. What is the input here? What is the input here? Customer ID is the input here. Okay, the input, the end customer input will be participating into the where clause of the select statement. Where clause of the select statement. The where, I'm repeating once again, the where clause is helping us to filter the row level data, that is not the column level data. Okay, get the details of all the transactions means transaction table lo unna all the columns. Okay, get the details of all the transactions annante those are all the columns from the transaction table. Okay, clear? So questions are ilaga unta real time lo inka the real time questions are all will be like this. Okay, tomorrow I'll continue